I'm joined now by the co-author of a book called Gabriel Lock, Bound by Law. It's a father and son co-authoring book. The son, David Cancio, joins me now. It's about a young lawyer who accepts a forced resignation and leaves the state's attorney's office. David, good to have you with us. Your book is doing well, and it's making a lot of getting a lot of attention. Tell us about the book and what makes it so unique.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be on. And thank you for wanting to discuss the book. So, yes, Gabriel Lock is a actually planned 7-book series. The first book has come out. The second book has come out just a few months ago, but both of them have been received very, very well critically. And it's really been a joy because I've had the chance to work on this with my dad. It started as a project to make up for lost time, and now it's actually turning into something that people seem to want to get behind. Actually, notably, I met Glenn Beck in person twice, and the first time that I met him, I gave him a copy of the book, and I thought he would just put it on his bookshelf and say, "Oh, nice." But then I saw him about a month later, and in front of all these people, he actually stopped talking to the donors that had given a lot of money to sit in the front row to see him. And he said, "Gentlemen, excuse me 1 second," walked all the way to the back where I was, and in front of like 5 other people stuck his hand out and said, "Hey, where's your father?" And I said, "Oh, he's on his way." And he said, "Great, because I'm not leaving until I shake his hand and meet him."
Wow.
And he said, "By the way, I'm halfway through your book, and I think it's excellent." So, that's really something. But I think part of what makes it unique is that it's a glimpse of 1980s Miami, which the country's going through a lot of different things now and has been going through some things that clearly happened in the 80s in Miami. The cocaine of the 80s is now the fentanyl of this age. The Cuban immigration and the Central American immigration of then is really the Venezuelan immigration and all these other immigrations that we've seen now across the southern border. So there are a lot of overlaps with what happened in Miami in the 80s. And I think that people are not only excited about a series that's John Grisham meets Miami Vice, but I think they see the patterns of what's happening now having happened already at that junction in Miami in the 1980s. And I think that's part of the reason why people are really into it.
Wow, that's quite a story. And as I say, it's about a young lawyer who accepts forced resignation and leaves the state's attorney's office. Explain that context, please.
Sure. So Gabriel graduates from the University of Florida in law school, and the first thing he does is he gets a job at the state attorney's office with Miami-Dade County. And he works there for about 2 years and chooses to resign because he has a particular set of clients, which that if you're part of the prosecutor's office, right, your client is not really the victim's family, it's the state, right? Ultimately, it's a crime against the state when there's something of a criminal nature. And so that's represented through the state attorney's office of the county. And so the family of the victim wants to push the case to the furthest that justice will allow, but the state attorney's office doesn't have the resources to push it. So they forced Gabriel to do a plea deal, which he had told them that he wasn't going to. And because he's given no other alternative, has to accept basically his resignation.
And what is it about your background, your father's background that leads the two of you to write a book of such as this?
A couple of different things. For one, my father is a pretty tenured attorney. He's been an attorney now for 47, nearly 48 years. And in November, he will celebrate 48 years as a sworn-in attorney with the bar. But I guess what's really neat about it is that we were looking for something to make up for lost time. We were going to work on a different project. I became enamored with a story that my dad told me when I was 7, and that ended up basically giving birth to this wonderful series of 7 books. That particular story actually will be coming out next year with Gabriel Lock, Bound by Will, which is the 3rd installment. But the reason why we really started to do this was because, one, my dad was kind of tired of the legal books or the legal dramas that have been coming out that were far from the reality of what lawyers actually do and who they're meant to be. And I wanted to write a character that people couldn't relate to necessarily as much as they could aspire to.
Hmm.
The purpose, in my opinion, in wanting to make a society better, you have to aspire to higher ideals and you have to strive for them. You can't just simply relate to the same muck that everybody's carrying around, because it's not just about translation, I guess you could say. from your story to mine. But ultimately, it should be about transformation from your story to mine so that I can strive for better things.
David, how do our viewers purchase your book, Gabriel Lock, Bound by Law?
So you can find both of them on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much anywhere that books are sold. I can't think, perhaps maybe BookBud doesn't have it yet, but pretty much anywhere, if you just type in Gabriel Lock Bound by Law or Gabriel Lock Bound by Fate, you'll be able to find them. And I guess the good news to share is that Bound by Fate was received even better than Bound by Law, which was saying something, because my father and I pretty much wrote, we finished the final draft of Bound by Fate pretty much about 3 weeks before it came out. So we were a little nervous with that one, but it seems that we pulled everything off.
All right. Awesome. David Cancio, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Back with more after this.